Good morning, Esther. You're playing with my heart again. I see a nest back there. You better be pregnant for real this time. Old Blue. Oh, there's Old Blue. And my hair is a mess today. I seriously haven't gotten my hair cut in like 6 months. Anyway, I've gotten the question a lot in the past couple weeks. Why are we getting out of meat rabbits? What are the pros and cons of meat rabbits? And all that fun stuff. So you've seen from my videos that we've been selling our meat rabbits and getting out of our herd. And it's not because we don't like them, it's just because we don't need them. And let me start from the beginning. So when we first started homesteading, we didn't really have a meat source. Well, we did, but we didn't. My husband had the brilliant idea that he would get into meat rabbits. Well, we went and we found some meat rabbits, which are nothing like what we have now. We've learned a lot since then. And I waited and waited and waited, and he never bred them. And I thought, okay, well, I didn't really want meat rabbits to begin with. So I thought I'd give it a try. So I went ahead and bred them. We got our first few litters out of them, and they were great. I really enjoyed them. But I realized that now, a few years later, we did it, and we filled our freezer up nicely, and but we don't need them. I mean, at some point on our homestead, or on any homestead, you have to cut your losses. The further I got into meat rabbits, the more I realized there was more of a demand for meat rabbit breeding stock than there was for the actual meat, which was originally my, wanting to fill my freezer, but also wanting to sell the meat. In the state of Virginia, you can sell an unlimited amount of rabbit meat from your homestead, which is awesome. So this past year, I kind of found myself just being more drudgy about it. Like, I didn't want to fool with the rabbits, and I didn't really want to breed them multiple rabbits in 1 year. If we weren't really eating the meat a lot, we weren't. And here's the big reason why we got out of meat rabbits. We're getting out of meat rabbits because we have more than enough meat supply here already. The bulk of our diet consists of venison. Mark is an avid hunter and fills our freezer every single year and beyond that. And so that's our main source of meat. We also get a pig share from a friend every year or every other year. Last year's pig share, we still have a lot of it left. So I just don't have room for meat rabbits. There's no need for meat rabbits on our homestead. We have other meat sources where we don't actually have to have meat here physically on our homestead. I am keeping 2 of my breeders, which are Esther and Old Blue, which you saw, and then I'm going to hold back some kits from their next litter, which I'm hoping is due in the next 2 weeks. And I am going to keep them as a precaution if we ever do need meat on our homestead, but also because there's more of a demand for the actual breeding stock, and we put a lot of money into our breeding stock, and therefore I think it's a shame to just let it go when we've sold out of all of our kits, almost as soon as they're born, but 8 weeks later. So here's some pros and cons to meat rabbits. The pros are they're extremely easy to take care of. They just need feed, which is mostly hay and water, and you're done. They're also extremely easy to process. I process all the meat rabbits here by myself. Very easy. It's like pulling off a sweater, and everything else falls out, and you're done. It might take 5 minutes, if that, to do one rabbit. They're very cuddly. If you have kids on your homestead, it's a really good way to get them into 4-H and into showing and things like that. Now, we don't do that, but I know a lot of people and have a lot of friends who do. So they're an easy, small livestock. The other thing is that they're not considered livestock. So if you're on an urban homestead, or even if you're in an apartment, or like in the city and you have a rooftop or something like that, the rabbits can stay in hutches, and therefore you don't need a lot of room for them. Or if you're in a suburban area where you're not allowed to have livestock in your backyard, then rabbits are a great option for you because they're not considered livestock and they don't take up a lot of room at all. Now, we live in a subdivision with large lots, and actually that green patch behind me isn't even our land. This nasty part is from grass seed, not from the previous owners not being done properly. We're going to fix that this year. So we have chickens and we have lots of animals here, and it's a very homesteading community type feel here where we are. But not everybody has that. So if you don't have that and you can't have chickens and stuff like that, then you can have rabbits because they don't require a lot of space. They don't make any noise. So that's a great option for that. They are pretty efficient when it comes to price. Now, you're going to spend good money if you're getting good livestock, as with anything that you buy. But mostly, they don't require a lot of food. So whether you're doing the raw food diet or a pellet diet, they don't really cost that much until you get into having lots of rabbits. Now, I have a friend who lives a couple properties over, and she had it's probably 50 rabbits at one time, and she was going through 3 50-pound bags a week. Okay, don't do that if you're trying to save money. If it's just for meat rabbits, there's no need to have that much money into it unless you're really selling them and making money. The cons to meat rabbits, there aren't too many cons to meat rabbits. The only thing is, if you find yourself kind of drudging along like I was, then maybe you should consider not raising meat rabbits, because it was just one more thing for me to do that wasn't necessary, and that's why we decided to downsize our herd. The only cons I can think of is that they're not as easy to breed as a lot of people think they are. They just aren't. It's a myth that rabbits breed like rabbits. They don't breed like rabbits. Rabbits don't breed like rabbits. They just don't. Some other cons, there are some diseases they could get. They could get snuffles, which is like a respiratory illness which can spread and wipe out your entire herd. Rabbits have sensitive digestive tracts, and therefore they are very susceptible to diarrhea and things, parasites that can get into their system, even if they're in hutches, and they'll die. I mean, there's really nothing you can do for it. They just die. Sometimes you can walk out there and they're gone. So they are fragile, like chickens, but other than that, there's not too many cons. So that's why we're getting out of meat rabbits. It's strictly because we don't need them on our homestead. Are they an efficient meat source? Absolutely. If you're considering getting into meat rabbits, I highly suggest it. I do warn you to be careful of some of the videos on YouTube. A lot of them, it's just, we have different rules in different countries, and for me, the more space an animal can have, I feel like the healthier and better they'll be. So we have large hutches and large areas for our rabbits. That's not the norm for other people. A lot of other people have really, really small hutches where the rabbit can basically just lay down and that's it, which is not considered inhumane in the United States. But, so go at your own rate. Do what you think is good for your animals and your rabbits, and that's where you'll be happy and healthy and have a great source of meat. I think that's it. That's basically the only reason we're getting out of it. So I hope that helped your questions. And if you have any more questions, please ask them and I will try to answer them. I will continue our meat rabbit series. I think I've had 3 parts up now. It's either 2 or 3 parts that I've done, so you can find that in our rabbit playlist, and I'll try to get the next one up. We've done breeding, we've done the basics, we've done feed. The next one would be processing. I did a processing video last summer, but halfway through my child's head was in the way, and so half the video isn't even usable. So I'll try to get that done when we have more rabbits to process, but that won't be for another 14 weeks probably. So anyhow, if you have any questions, let me know. Happy homesteading.